80% to 90% of what you see on crypto Twitter is completely fake. Most people don't know because that's the things that get most views.
The path to making money is really just being able to avoid things that are going to lose you money. Like, it's not even learning what to do, it's more learning what you shouldn't do.
If someone was early to different projects, you must know something that I don't. Everything that's happening on Rapcast, I think, is something that's probably to study more.
If you're analyzing on-chain wallets, that's an edge that you can acquire. You're getting paid earlier than someone who doesn't use on-chain stuff.
We are computing 3,000 wallets. I'm gonna showcase you live.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm joined here with Antoine, otherwise known as Handsome Finance. You guys might follow him already on YouTube. He makes some good videos that talk about meme coins, algorithmic investing, and he talks a lot about getting an edge in the market. And yeah, we're going to be talking today about some similar topics. We're going to be talking about meme coins, celebrity meme coins, how to pick a good meme coin, how to always be one step ahead of where the attention is going to go to. We're also going to talk about some sort of automation stuff and talk about building investment systems, building an edge in the market, and a couple other topics as well. So it should be really interesting. Antoine, if you want to give us an introduction into yourself, so everyone knows a bit about you before we get started, that'd be awesome. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Daniel, for the invitation. I'm really excited to be here. So I started to be in crypto in 2017. I was more in traditional investment before that. And I just loved crypto even more because I had a background in information systems and blockchain that I studied before doing my master degree. And after I started to invest in crypto, I never went out of it. So I went through 2 bear markets, and I'm still quite sane mentally. So I think that's quite a success already. But I got passionate by on-chain analysis at the previous bull market, where you could actually see all the transaction, who is making money, who is losing money, and then try to find a smart money around that. And also, on top of that, you got to know, before I do some pretty bad jokes, I'm also a stand-up comedian. So.
Awesome. So tell us about the on-chain stuff. I think that's a good place to start. So it sounds like you've got a bit of an edge in analyzing certain wallets and, I guess, essentially like copy trading the ones who are making money. So why don't you break down for us the strategy / edge that you've developed there in the on-chain world? I'd be curious to hear about it.
Yeah. So first we have to really understand how the blockchain work, and it's like a ledger where we would get all the transactions, right? So we can see that 0x blah 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 bought this, 0x blah 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 bought this, bought that, and when they sold it. So this would be a confusing information, but if you compute all that information and you group all the buying and all the selling by addresses, this is what you can see easily on Dex Screener, right? You can know who made money and who lost money in it. And with that, you can go a layer on top of it. Is now when you go into a new coin, you want to know who is getting into it. Are they broke people or are they rich people? You don't know that in the stock market. We don't have this information unless you have a Bloomberg terminal. You can have a better information, but this is not accessible to everyone. However, the blockchain is. So now you can know what is the quality of the attention going into a meme coin, for example. If you see like, I don't know, like 100 wallets that are like multimillionaires, that they go into this meme coin that is below $1 million market cap, you're going to be like, there must be something behind it. Like, there's something I don't understand yet about this particular project. So that's one thing. Another thing is to see, like, for example, if someone was early to different projects, you're like, how come you early here, here, and here? You must know something that I don't. And then you can monitor this wallet or either copy trade this wallet to make the same trade as him or as her.
Yeah. On-chain analysis like this is something I've been looking into in the past couple months as well. And it's interesting when you look at, for example, right now, a coin like Toshi, there was a lot of selling recently on Toshi the past few days. And if you analyze what the selling was, we realized, oh, it was basically just a lot of smaller wallets selling Toshi to buy Brett. You could see that they were selling one coin to buy another. They were doing the rotation game. And you can analyze that form of selling and say, hey, look, is this a type of selling that is going to probably continue to happen? Is this a panic selling? Is this a FOMO selling? Was this an emotional decision? and who was making this decision? Was it a smart person or a dumb person? And you can sort of analyze that selling and say, hey, look, this is probably the type of selling that I would want to buy into versus the selling that would represent when you would want to probably exit that coin because the whales are exiting. So do you use this sort of on-chain analysis on like base meme coins and anything like that? How have you used it lately? Is there a certain particular like play that you look for? Like, are you trying to identify a certain amount of whales, or have you got a couple accounts that you like religiously follow, like a couple wallets that you really track all the time?
I don't have accounts that I track all the time, but I will rotate them, because what happened is now, like sometime when I talk about an account or whatever, it would get too popular. Everyone goes on it, and then they get wrecked because the guy will see that he's followed by a lot of wallets, and then he will buy and then dump it instantly, and then he will go onto something else. And then after, everyone will be like, okay, I don't follow him anymore because I lost money. But I'm like, oh, this is still a multi-million-dollar portfolio, so I'm still gonna check what he's doing. So it's like when you start to check when no one is checking, well, you can find some really good stuff. Like I did one just really recently. But after a while, honestly, when you started to copy trade and to understand most of the smart wallet, what are they doing, because you see every time their pattern, you start to be able to do the same thing at the same time as them. And I think that's where there's probably a learning process in it. And now what we are doing is actually we are computing all those different wallets. So we are analyzing more than 3,000 wallets. I don't have yet like something to show on this, but with all those wallets, we're going to try to find the clusters of those wallets. And then instead of saying like, oh, just like this guy bought it, so I bought it, but try to find more like when multiple are starting to buy. And that's by analyzing all the profit and loss of those wallets. But let's check, for example, like Toshi. I'm going to try to showcase you live how it is to be able to analyze. So I'm just going to take the contract address, and then we build something that's going to be able to analyze this. Let me put it here. And then with this one, this is a June dashboard, but that's a private one that's going to give me information, because June is a tool that lets you query the blockchain. So you can, if you know what to ask, like I want to know what X did or what Y did and all that, then you will get the information. So we run different type of data. You see the number of new wallets on Toshi, things like that are pretty interesting to know, because I want to know like what's happening on the price, or like what are we having? Is it new people, old people buying it, or they are going out? So we're going to have the P&L loading. Let me check what we have already, the holders balance. And then one that I love is to know what you were just talking about. So what are they buying? What are they selling? So we have the holders inflow and outflow. This is going to be loading. But like this, we will know, okay, it's like, are they pushing their money into another one? And let me check actually what is the liquidity on Toshi, because that, okay, we get a quite small liquidity. So that's a coin that will move pretty fast, right?
And yeah, what we noticed was that there was a lot of selling that was a rotation based selling, and it was only basically exclusively smaller wallets that only held a small amount of Toshi, and the wallets that were the whales weren't selling and they weren't rotating. So that's what we noticed. I'd be curious to see if you see the same thing, or if you can see that with this dashboard and as it's loading.
Yeah. So for example, here I can see who made money and who lost money and everything. Look, we get 270 new investors today in it. Let's check what happened here. But yeah, the thing is, then you would need a lot of small wallets going on. We see that, yeah, there was a small decrease of holders, but it's not that big of a deal. There was not a massive decrease. Well, let's wait for this. But yeah, like this is a coin with a lot of holders. Actually, I I gotta congratulate you because I know you called Toshi at $2 million market cap, and I think I called it at $7 million market cap. So you were before me, and I think like Toshi is an interesting coin in a way because the concept is good. For me, the graphics are terrible. Like I don't like this AI thing. Like I feel like, oh, I like, is that a cheap manga character? What is it? But the idea was good.
Yeah, it's. I think the biggest selling points is the fact that it's the OG, it's the first one, and the
Yeah.
community is pretty solid, and the guy who runs it is pretty solid too. But I agree, there's definitely a more mass market appealing meme. I think with other memes like Brett, definitely faded those ones in more than I would have liked to. But Brett, coins like Brett are an interesting case of how a coin that's sort of held in the hands of only a few people, or a coin that's sort of essentially ran by an influencer, can actually do really well if that influencer or group of people who sort of hold most of the supply have good intentions. Like, like a lot of people would say something like bread is shit because it's a cabal coin. But in a way, it's actually been for its benefit, the fact that it has these attributes which people would consider it cabal, because the people who hold the token, the people who do the marketing, are actually ending up being way better at marketing it than anyone else who would have been holding it or marketing it. So it's interesting to look at sort of, like Toshi versus a coin like Brett. Very similar in some ways, very different in other ways. And it's almost like beneficial to have a cabal at times, in certain ones.
Yes. It all depends on how the cabal is. And I think the one on Brett, they have been good. Like how they did it is smart because they probably didn't really need money, and when they sold like really smartly. So like we know that at 800K there was some big selling happening, but they went soft, and then they managed to control it. And because actually you get tons of wallet where they have never been touched, you could say there's probably a big part of the supply of Brett with kind of burn, but we don't know yet because maybe the cabal did a mistake and lost some keys. That's possible. Like they not planning to sell until something big happen, and then they will sell. We don't know yet, or they will just like do it slow. So what you were saying about uh, Brett is right. Like on May 31st, it was like $2.5 million that went into Brett. 2.6. 2.6. And it's what is funny to see is that actually those meme coin guys, they only invest into meme coins. They don't buy anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get some Degen, some Nomi, Toshi, Brett. Yeah, so like they're buying more Brett. They're buying more Toshi, sorry. So Toshi holders are buying Toshi holders, but not sometime at the same rhythm as they are selling it. So we get like we got to be careful because it's not the same the same legend on it. Like this one goes up to 3 million. So for example, on this day they sold 2.6. Okay, and they sold some bread as well on 03. But yeah, so there was 2.4. So there was a bit of an outflow, but it's not the case every day. So that's something that we see. Like, are they accumulating or are they selling? But what we just saw on the page open, I don't know if you're so familiar with Rapcast.
Yeah.
Here we can see that Toshi is followed by Jesse Pollack, which is the number one dev on base. And this is like we could say the right arm of Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase for base chain. Like this is the number one guy. If you got to follow someone, it's this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Blue ETH as well, which is one that created a quite big meme coin. And I would say that's pretty a good sign if they're active here, because on that social media, it's like Twitter, but for the rich people. Like that's kind of what it is. Like it's developers who are like super good, paid 10K to 30K per bounce. And they're sitting on 100 ETH, 200 ETH, and they're going to invest into some stuff. So like everything that's happening on Rapcast, I think is something that's probably to study more. After it's really hard. It's a hard bet to take, like to go onto a new social media and see what happened. But for myself, it's one that I like because I can study a lot of data. Like I can literally query Rapcast the same way as I query the blockchain. So I can see who got more interaction, what are they investing in, what is the size of their portfolio, all that. And I think like I'm just starting with it, but that's probably going to be something that could get big with Base.
And I think it's interesting to think about with on-chain wallets, the idea of like, again, how crypto is an insider game. Like when you go on Twitter and you look at the information that people are talking about and sharing, often that is a diluted sort of like the post will be a dilution or sort of a post based on information that that person had gotten earlier from certain groups that they're in. So by the time you see something on Twitter, that information had already been talked about days ago in certain Telegram groups or Discord groups or one-on-one DMs that people have had prior. So if you look at like the food chain of who sort of eats first, who is the one that sort of eats the most, it's, you know, these one-on-one Telegram chats, and then the information gets on Twitter, and then YouTubers sort of catch onto it, and then it's like Facebook guys at the end. And on-chain allows, like analyzing on-chain wallets sort of allows you to climb the hierarchy, and you know, you're in a better position than YouTubers, than the guys on Twitter, and you sort of can enter, if you do it right, at the same time as when the insiders are entering. Because, you know, a guy will tell you on Twitter, I'm buying this, but he was buying 2 days ago. He was accumulating before he even posted about it. And if you look at the on-chain, you'd see that he was buying, and then the Twitter would tell you 2 days later. So I think that's also another interesting part of sort of using on-chain as your edge. You're climbing the hierarchy of when you receive the information.
Yeah, even maybe he started to follow this profile on Twitter before that. He was gaining an interest in it, and you can gain the interest at the same thing. At the same time, one thing I would like to highlight is most of, like 80% to 90% of what you see on crypto Twitter is completely fake. All those guys saying that they got a Solana wallet from 1 Sol to 100 Sol or whatever it is, it's usually totally fake. And I know how to make those fake screenshots. It's actually pretty easy, but most people don't know, because that's the things that get most views. And that's where the retail investors are going to be. They're going to be like, oh, this guy made so much money, so I need to follow him. But if the guy first like never explained how he made his money, that's something you should be like aware of. And second thing is like they never show their wallet address, and they have no negative incentive to not show their wallet address. Alors maybe you're going to tell me, but Antoine, if they show their wallet address, then everyone is going to copy them, and then they lose their edge. Yes and no. First, if everyone copy them, they can still make tons of money, because when they do a buy, they're going to have like 100 buyers coming after them. So that validates already the position. So that's wrong. And second thing is that once they show their wallet, they just can start with another wallet and be private again. But they don't do that. And then I think they should start to really do this thing, because like Twitter still works with an algorithm that's going to reward the posts that get the highest engagement. And today, what gets the highest engagement is opium. And that's going to be always the case. So you're going to always see those fake things. So instead of trying to find the edge always in crypto about like, oh, where can I find information that's going to make me a 100x? Spend time first on removing all the information that's going to make you lose money. Because anyways, there's going to be capital coming in the market. It's going to be more and more money every month going into crypto. So if you just don't put your money where you're going to lose it, you're going to make money. That's just a simple rule. So it's going to be easier, because you're going to remove 90% of the bad information to be able to find after the good stuff.
Yeah, I talk about that a lot. How the path to making money is really just being able to avoid things that are going to lose you money. Like, it's not even learning what to do, it's more learning what you shouldn't do. It's like not necessarily like figuring out where to walk. It's more just like allowing yourself to not step on landmines. And yeah, like you lose money and then you learn not to do that. You lose money, you do that 1,000 times and you learn all the things that you shouldn't do. So yeah, I tend to agree. But I think also being able to filter the information, being able to know what is good and what is bad information is important too. Because often, like even on my Twitter feed, I'll only follow like the best 300 dudes, but then Twitter will recommend for me shit content from strangers. And I'm like, man, like, why is this appearing on my feed? It'll be like some post about how Ripple's going to go 100x. And I'll be like, why is this showing on my feed? I don't agree with this. So yeah, it's also like, can you filter the information? Can you tell what is good and what is bad? Are you able to, like, for example, if whenever those posts come up that say like, this guy turned 2 Sol into 350 Solana, here's how here's the wallet. I completely ignore those posts. I don't even read them because I understand that there's no money in these threads. It's just engagement. It's just engagement farming. So like, yeah, being able to filter like the good from the bad is important too. And that only really comes from experience, I find, just, experience in the game.
Yeah. Also, I think like, yeah, mindset, like don't be naive. No one on Twitter is going to be like, all right, I'm going to give it to you all of it. Like it's you who have to get the clues. That's going to be in different places. And then you bring it back together and love that game. Don't wait for someone who's going to give you on silver platter a 1000x and you didn't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with all of this, the ultimate conclusion is basically just you have to climb the hierarchy of how early you're receiving the information or of how high quality your alpha is, right? Whether you join a paid group so that you get that guy's entire information, whether you become the professional yourself and you are the insider, whether you launch the coin and so you make money regardless of what way the price goes, whether you're the influencer who gets the seed round, maybe you're just an influencer who promotes a coin and you get referral commissions, whatever it is, you have to find a way to climb the hierarchy to be the guy that gets paid first. Because, if you're trying to make money and you're the last guy to get paid, you're in the worst position because everyone else has taken their cut. For example, who makes money first? It's the founder. And then who makes money? Well, it's probably the first VCs. And then who makes money? Then it's probably like smart retail. And the last guy to make money is the dude on Twitter with no clue, just copying people. So the earlier you can be the guy that gets paid, the better off you're going to go. And for example, the on-chain. If you're analyzing on-chain wallets, that's an edge that you can acquire. You're getting paid earlier than someone who doesn't use on-chain stuff. And I find on-chain definitely works better for memes versus, analyzing like Solana or something. Maybe for something like Solana, better to use more technical tools. But definitely for the meme coin game, that's a good way to get an edge. Do you agree, like with what I said?
Yes, for a few different reasons. First is like, where's the coin traded? The more it's traded on decentralized exchange only, the more on-chain analysis will be the best to have. And for example, Solana is traded on most centralized exchange. And when it's traded on centralized exchange, we don't have the information of who is trading in and how they are trading it. We just have the price info. So I think, yeah, like basically technical analysis will become efficient probably on coins that at least goes above $10 million market cap. I would say even $100 million market cap. And then, for example, Brett will still be like, you got to do on-chain analysis because even if it's around 1 billion, you know that most of the supply is owned by only few wallets. So you got to know what is the movement of those guys. Like if, for example, they were buying the dip when it was at $200 million, you got to get those information. But yeah, for everything that is major, I would say like probably technical analysis will be more efficient. There's just like, for example, Bitcoin is an interesting one because most of the price short term is going to be of what happened on technical analysis, but what happened on the long term, there's a big part of on-chain analysis, as it's a really old coin that is still sitting mostly on wallets. a lot of people just bought Bitcoin, put it on their hardware wallet, and then put it into a safe in Switzerland or whatever, and they're not gonna touch it for the next, we don't know. And then when you're gonna see a lot of dormant address starting to cash out, then maybe there's gonna be a signal that you should cash out a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way that I explain to people why dormant wallets or whale selling is bad is quite simple. So when you look at a coin, there's two types of that coin. There's the coin that you can buy and sell on the exchange. There's like the circulating supply of the coin.
Yeah.
And then there's the supply that people are just holding in their wallets. It's not supply that you could buy. If you went on Binance and tried to buy these coins, you couldn't because they're not on Binance. They're in some guy's wallet, cold storage, dormant. You can't buy these. And when there is a lot of coins dormant off exchanges, and there's only a little bit of coins that you can actually buy if you wanted to go buy, that's a coin which you could consider illiquid and able to be moved up faster in terms of price. Because if Bitcoin jumps, when Ethereum jumped from whatever it was, 3K to 4K in a day, when it added like $100 billion of market cap, they didn't have to buy all the Ethereum tokens, to push it up that much. There was only a small amount of ETH on exchanges that had to be bought to push it that high. And like people say, when $1 billion comes into crypto, that might be $10-20 billion of market cap added. So each dollar doesn't actually push the price up $1. It pushes it up like $10-20. So it's a little bit going in, having a much bigger impact. And when you see whales or dormant wallets selling, what that is doing is it's taking money from the sort of off exchange supply and it's adding it to the on exchange supply. And all of a sudden, you've now got millions or billions of dollars of more tokens which are in the float on the exchange. And the market, if it wants to move up, instead of having to, let's say, chew through $1 billion of coins, now it has to chew through $3 billion of coins. So it's 3 times harder for the price to go up because there's 3 times as much supply that would have to be gone through to push the price up. And so when whales sell, you're just increasing the amount of coins that the market has to push through in order for it to do anything. And you saw with Bowden, for example, there was a guy who exited Bowden with $8 million. He sold $8 million of Bowden, and everyone looks at that and goes, "Oh, good, he's gotten out of the market. The sellers are sort of done." But what people don't realize is that, hey, this guy has that $8 million doesn't just fucking disappear. That $8 million is now $8 million extra that the market has to chew through if it wants to go up in price. It takes probably multiple months for that $8 million to be bought up by smart money to then be off sort of the float.
Yep.
Right? It takes time to get rid of the float, right? So whenever you see a massive whale selling, that has an impact beyond just their selling. That's the float being bigger. And it takes quite a while to get that float lower to a level where the price can go up again.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah, I totally agree. And you will see that with meme coins when they get launched, because snipers will buy most of the supply at the beginning, and their goal is to sell it ASAP. They don't fucking care about the project, whatever, they're bots. So they will try to sell it as fast as possible. And then for that, that means when you're early buyer into a meme coin, or when you try to be like, "Oh, I'm going to be so early like the snipers," you're going to get fucked, because those guys are going to sell as fast as they can. So you're going to buy after them, and then they're going to sell on you. And that's why, when a meme coin managed to break this resistance, then after it can fly, because it's like a strong push against the wall until the wall collapses, and then it can finally fly. But it needs, for example, it would need 10K, 20K, 30K to be able to break that wall, because you need to pay those guys. So I guess, the guy who sold for 8 million, you need a massive push after that. Massive. It's probably you need 3 or 4 times the amount, because as you say, there's a lot more circulating supply as well. So that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's levels it's like a video game. There's like levels that a meme coin hits. It's like you get to like a 1 million market cap, and if you can hold that, it's like boom, you jump into 5, and then you get to 5, and it's like boom, you know, you hold that, it's 10. 10 sort of jumps to 20. It's like levels. You know, if it proves that it has held a certain level, it gets to that next level very quickly, and it's sort of like level 1 sniper. If you can beat the snipers, then boom, the snipers aren't a problem anymore. And then it's like, well, can this coin even sustain whales? Well, if whales are wanting to buy them, boom, it's like levels. I've found in my experience with meme coins.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. Yeah.
Mm.
Do you trade on Pump Fun, or what do you trade in meme coins?
I've actually never used Pump Fun, and it's because I don't like to do the super active new meme coin sort of flipping. It's just doesn't interest me. I actually genuinely don't enjoy the act of using crypto, like buying and selling. So I do it as minimally as possible. What I prefer to do is buy a meme like Toshi at like, very early, and then just do nothing and just wait for that thesis to play out. So yeah, I've never used Pump Fun. Have you? I'm sure you've used it a bunch of times.
Oh yeah. I've used it both sides, like launching, buying, all that. Like, but now, like I will not, like I would buy project that go on Pump Fun, but I would usually not directly go on the website because it's a mess, it's a fucking mess. So we're building tools around that to be able to spot those ones. But yeah, that's actually a topic I wanted to ask you about. Like, then, like when we're here at this stage of the market where there's no new redo, Toshi, Brett, like now we all have kind of the leaders of each chain for meme coins. So if you were as today and you want to find a new opportunity, what would you do then?
Do you mean like finding the next Toshi? The next
Yeah,
Brett?
the next Toshi, the next Brett, the next whatever it is, because now like it feels like, okay, we set up, we know who is qualified for the World Cup, and the World Cup is going to happen in the next 2 months, and then that's about it, and then we will see who win the World Cup. But like, can't we find still some that were not qualified and will be qualified?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I try not to get like into the derivatives of a certain coin. So, for example, what you have is Brett, right? Brett is from the same group as Pepe, and it's from the same group as Andy and those other ones, right? I don't like buying into things like Andy because it's too derivative. It's like, it's not the main narrative. Like, you'll have the main narrative, and then you'll have the subsets of the narrative, right? You'll have the main thing which can get to 1 billion, and then you've got the small thing that could get to 10 mil. I don't like to play that derivative game. So for me, it's like, okay, we've got, things like Brett, Toshi. I'm not going to buy the shit version of Toshi, like Boshi, or what, if someone came up with a derivative of Toshi, all right? But what I would be preferring to look for is the new main narrative. So whatever that would be. Right now, I'm not sure what that would be. I think memes are going to be the thing, going into the end of the cycle. I think with massive Phantom Wallet adoption, how useful Pump Fun is, the fact that celebrities are showing their hand that meme coins are the place that they're going to be this cycle. The fact that NFTs are sort of dying off, and they're not the most fun way to speculate on sort of communities and trends. I think it's going to be definitely meme coins going forward. So my process for picking a meme coin, then, if that's going to be the place to be, is I don't like to buy the new things that have just launched. I like to see a meme coin, and then I like to see it survive a 70, 80, 90% decline, enter an accumulation range, and see that it's still a strong project, right? The community's strong, they're building, everyone, the smart money wallets are accumulating, the JEETs are out. That's when I would be looking to buy into a new project. I'm not sure what that would be right at this second. I don't have anything on the top of my list. Mostly just continuing to add to the existing positions, but that's my strategy. I don't like to ape into a new launch. I prefer to like see it survive a decline, and then I'm buying in. What's your strategy? Have you got a different approach?
Yeah, I like to ape at the launch. I like to ape when there was a pullback. So it's like it's pretty intense. Like you gotta know when you can do it. Like you gotta be like in a completely good mental state, because this is really tough. Like I'm not gonna say like, oh, it's simple, but it's tough on your mind. Like you're gonna be like, fuck, should I sell it? Should I not? And then I really like to spot those ones early. Uh, and then I like to launch as well, but if I launch, I would like to launch anonymously next, because otherwise people will just blame you for everything. Um, but yeah, I think you're right. Like to find those ones. The thing is, I think like base chain in a way lacks of creativity.
Yeah.
Like as far as today, like I think Solana, they still made some that could be interesting. That something could happen, like Timmy or things like that. There could be some coins like that. But base, like they really need to make their developers having more fun. I think to be able to have the same craze that you have on Solana.
Yeah, I mean, like the depth of the meme will come as the culture of the chain develops. You know, Solana's had many years to develop a culture and a certain like way of doing things, and I think as an ecosystem grows, the higher quality creators are going to come across, and those people tend to create the better projects, right? Like, you know, when a chain's very new, it's unlikely that you're going to get all the super smart people who build all the super cool shit coming across. It takes a bit of time for them to migrate from ETH to Solana, for example. So I think base, the creativity will get better. It's just when something's new, it just tends to be a bit more boring and, you know, not super unique. Like all the base memes have been pretty basic so far. Like, I don't know, like Bepe and Boj and all this stuff. It's sort of like shit. Like it's not like a new meme. It's just like a weird spin-off copycat, and they add the blue color to it, and they say that base is getting 100 million users, and that's it. That's all they do.
yeah, those one were mostly like that's what the conversation we were having at the beginning. Like most of the copy that were they just like painted in blue were just launched by the same crew, and they use all the tools to be able to make their coin rank a lot faster on deck screen and everything. And we built some of those tools, so I know it works. But there's one thing though we can't remove from base is that run originality is like they are more like identity based, where Solana is a lot more like pet based or like characters, different thing. But like if you see the top coins, if you remove Brett in base, you get Boomer, you get Weirdo, you get Degen, you get Muffers. Like all those one is like, all right, I identify to this lifestyle or to this kind of people, so I'm gonna buy this meme coin that goes with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, yeah, like I said before, I think the depth of meme will come. Base, the only real narrative is that Coinbase has 100 million users and they're going to send them to the chain. Eventually, Base will outgrow this. There will be other things to do besides just buying shit meme coins. For example, there's a cool project that I got into a VC round in called BetBase, and it's just like a betting platform. It's a super cool project. The utility is that, you know, you can sign up, you can make a smart wallet, you can connect it to this platform, and you can be betting on chain on pretty much anything with basically zero fees instantly, none of that sort of brokerage middleman bullshit. And it's just, it's going to be like the new way of doing like betting on chain. And I like that idea. It's a sort of a utility that goes far beyond anything that meme coins are really offering. And projects like that are going to start to appear on Base as well. You know, if you look at the sort of mission and the idea behind the on-chain summer, it's like, we've given you guys the tools to build really cool shit. Now it's time for you guys to build something. And they want to promote people who are building cool shit on Base. And I think that's what you're going to see. You're going to see all these cool apps coming out that millions of people would probably end up using eventually, that, you know, launch on Base. And it's going to be, that's the next evolution of Base, I think. Right now we've got meme coins and that's all cool. But I think the next evolution is like, what's the shit that millions of people are going to use? And that hasn't been built yet. So everyone's still very early to that trend.
Yeah, I agree. I like that we went from gambling onto meme coins that we're gonna gamble
Gambling on
betting.
chain.
Yeah, just gamble on chain in a different way.
See, there's so much utility in crypto that we're so much more evolved now in this interview. We're now talking about gambling and other things. So much utility in crypto, right?
Yeah, but at least it's honest utility. Like I'm tired. Like when you've been in crypto for a while, you're just tired of fake utility. Like, oh, we're gonna build the Uber of the blockchain because no one asked for it, but we thought we could get some VC money from it. Or oh, we're gonna do this AI thing because why would you use ChatGPT when you could just go through 10 different steps to be able to finally ask a question after buying a token and everything? That seems a lot more complicated, but that's the narrative that's about it. But yeah, I mean, you got to be honest. Like, unless it's the top 2 coins in the market, there's not much utility that is actually happening. And I think now we see more platforms, and those ones will succeed. Like you say, a betting platform, I can see this doing well. Same as Rollbit did very well. Like all those things that are actually just like once you bought the token, you can directly trade or do the things with it. Then okay, you're gonna have a utility. But like most of the rest of it, like nothing's gonna happen, I think.
I mean, you just have to think about it, right? Smart wallet is the simplest, easiest way to onboard new people into crypto, and the type of people who would use apps in crypto, right? So you've got the easiest wallet that's ever been created that's literally could be used by a grandma. And then you've got, they've released, I don't know how it works, I'm not a dev, but they've released this, I think it's like called SDK. It's a developer package that makes it simple to build apps on Base, right? So you've got easy to build apps, easy to use the chain. They also basically own essentially 10 million plus users who they can create incentives for to do certain actions. It's not like they have to go out and get attention from 10 million. They have 10 million they can just message right now and do this, do that. Here's the incentive. They're creating incentive programs for people to come on chain, right? So you combine these things and then you think to yourself, cool, what massive apps work with this? What massive apps could be built? And that's what you need to look out for and invest into. Like this bet one, 100% of the revenue generated it's returned. I don't know how they do it, but it's returned in some form to the holders of the token, right? It's not like the company is making money. It's all going back to the token, right? So like something like that is like cool. On-chain betting makes perfect sense. What else makes sense on chain? Well, I mean, if any chain was to get real world asset adoption, it's probably Base, because I'm pretty sure there was talks about on-chain KYC, which is what would be required to if you want to buy real estate on-chain, there has to be a way to do KYC for that individual. So an on-chain based KYC system is going to be a requirement for any sort of proper real world asset adoption to sort of take place. So it makes sense that Base would be the leader in that industry too. So that's another place, real world asset adoption. And then you've got a couple other things that you can look into besides that, but that's what I'm looking out for as like the next step, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, if you check the previous bull markets, how Binance, quote unquote, smart chain was big, and it was a shitty blockchain with an okay integration to Binance. But what they're doing Base today is on a completely other level. And it's not just scammy things that are happening on it. Like when you see the quality of what's built already today, you would understand that how this thing can be big. Because the net positive that we had from Binance Smart Chain was zero. We can measure it today. We have nothing left from the Binance Smart Chain. They had PancakeSwap, which was a copy from Uniswap, but there was like nothing that got created on it that lasted. But today, when you check Base Chain and what they're going to build with the wallet, well, we already have a working social media that is a competitors for crypto Twitter. And on Rapcast, Farcaster, it's already happening, it's already working, and people are sending tips to each other just by commenting. So they send to each other some token called DGen, and it's working. And DGen built a layer 3. So you see already the technical levels, they're here. So there's already a lot of smart people on it. And the thing is, what could have happened is that there was a backlash because Coinbase is an American company and a lot of KYC and things like that. And then that's going to be bad for crypto. But we didn't see this backlash. So I think like that's why, like when the wallet's going to be released, it's going to be massive. And you say even a grandma can use it. So finally, everyone can have their own exit liquidity. You go to grandma on the Sunday, say, Grandma, you got to buy this coin. She's buying it. And you say right after it, and you say, see, Grandma, I teach you a lesson now. You're an exit liquidity. And that's finally going to be, that's going to be a good thing. I think like, I'm really looking forward to see how it actually take place, that wallet.
Yeah. I just don't think that it's going to be this endless meme coin gambling sort of fuckery. Like that can't be the end state of crypto. There has to be something that we do beyond this. And I think, you know, if you look at the history of crypto, there's always been trends, and trends always tend to fade away and get replaced by newer trends. And it just makes sense that, you know, obviously meme coins are still going to be big, but there must be an app that we can build that's beyond this. Something that is that next level. And I think it's got to be some sort of more utility-based apps that millions of people sign up to and use. Like Pump Fun is almost, it's essentially a game, right? It's a game, and you can build apps around Pump Fun. You can, for example, there's a friend of mine, I saw that he created an app that he's going to launch soon that integrates Pump Fun and into an app. So it's like Robinhood connected to Pump Fun, and it has another integration, and it basically allows anyone to not even be crypto native and start participating in sort of on-chain meme coin stuff. And that's a cool idea of like an app that's for meme coins, but it's sort of it's heading in the direction of being like a utility-based app that millions of people can use. And I think that sort of concept is going to become more and more apparent, where you're sort of taking the crypto native platforms, integrating them with an API into your platform, which is sort of like Web 2-ish, where you don't even know you're interacting with crypto. And I think that's going to become more and more a thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, meme coin in a big way are going to stay for it, because it's like we finally can bet on how good the joke is and how long the joke will last. And in the attention economy, that's what it is. Because for example, like everyone is investing in Nvidia now, when it's like a company that existed for I don't know how many years already. And then it's like just like in this last 2 years, like, oh, suddenly it's the coolest thing in the world, where they've been doing the same shit for the past 5 years, getting everywhere into AI. But like, so we're gonna see different application. And I think probably with the smart wallet, I think one that will be interesting that I would like to see is like mobile gaming, because you will have like this cross integration that can be fast.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%. And I see that we are low on time here, so I want to say, Antoine, thank you for coming on. And I also want to show people where they can learn more about you. So Antoine is on YouTube, Handsome Finance. You can see the guy's very handsome. So the only crypto bro channel your girlfriend likes to watch. I love that. Something different from the usual crypto nerd sort of vibe. So yeah, anything else that you wanted to leave, or is there any other socials that you're on that people should know of?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter as well under my name, Antoine RSX. And otherwise, yeah, just like learn more about on-chain analysis, just to have a bit of understanding. And if you want to automate your trades, use basetrading.com. This is actually the way you can pump your coins in trending, is you just do a DCA. And then because you will have a lot of transaction, a DCA buy, a DCA sell, then your coin will be trending. So that's something that I see a lot of people using now that helps to make it ranked higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a big takeaway from this overall is that on-chain analysis is a way that you can get an edge, and it's something worth looking into if you're in the crypto trenches. And that base is gonna evolve going forwards, hopefully. So yeah, thank you again, Antoine, for
Thank you, Daniel,
hopping
for
on.
the
This was
invite.
a really good conversation, and yeah, see you guys all soon. Cheers.
See you. Bye.